If you just got a Tacoma, or you're about to get one, or maybe you've had one and haven't started modding it, what are the first 3 mods that you should consider? That's what we're going to talk about right now. One of the great things about the Tacoma is that there are lots and lots of options when it comes to modding your Tacoma. In fact, there are hundreds of options out there that you could do. So where do you start, right? And this is based on my recommendation. Obviously, I've had my Tacoma over a year now, 16,000 miles, use it as my daily driver. So this is what I would recommend are the first 3 Tacoma mods that you should be considering. Let's jump into number 1. For me, the first mod that you should get absolutely has to be the bed mat. The bed of the Tacoma is awesome in the fact that it's a composite bed, so you don't need to put a spray on bed line or anything like that. It's already got that plastic cover on it. Basically, you know, it makes it a lot lighter than those heavier beds, but with that composite comes a very slick surface. Things slide around in there all the time. Don't believe me? Check out this video where I actually reviewed the difference of bed mat versus no bed mat, and you can see how stuff just slid all over the place. You know, you're looking at about $100 plus. I can put a link down to Amazon in the description. You know, if you're looking to pick one up, grab it there. It actually helps out the channel a ton. But really, this is going to give you functionality in the back. It's going to add some texture. It's going to make it so you remove that slick surface from it that often just makes things slide all around and makes your bed not feel as valuable as it can. And you can see I use mine a ton. My bed mat is, you know, it's got some stains on it, it's dirty, it could use a good wash, but all that means is that I use it all the time, and it protects my bed while also making just the entire bed far more useful. Definitely number 1. All right, number 2 on my list of first 3 mods you should be considering doing for your Tacoma is one that's a little bit more controversial, because I went with a little bit less expensive end, a little bit cheaper. But number 2, I would say, is some kind of a leveling kit or a lift kit. Now, I went with a 2-inch leveling kit on the front. What that does is it just lifts up that front of the Tacoma. If you notice on the Tacoma, when you look at new ones, they do dip down a little bit. So the front is actually lower than the back. The leveling kit lifts that up a little bit. Now, whether it makes it exactly level or not, that kind of just depends on what you go with. And honestly, it's not going to be perfectly level. But for me, a 2-inch leveling kit was perfect. Now, you might go with like a 3-2 and do a full-on lift kit. And that may have a whole lot of extra stuff to it, whether that's suspension and all that kind of stuff. But you know, that kind of just depends on how you're going to be using your truck and really what you want to spend on it. That makes a big difference. But for me, the number 2 thing, and I took a little while to do this, is lifting up the front. Some kind of a leveling kit or lift kit. One of the things that really annoyed me when I would drive my truck before I had it was that it would often dip as you're stopping, right? So you're stopping at a stoplight and you just kind of felt the dip, you felt that jolt. And that's just because the front sat up higher. Once I added the leveling kit, it completely removed that. It also gives me the option if I want to increase the tire size. So giving it a little bit more space up top means that I'm going to have more ability to increase the tire size. Now, nothing crazy. I need to do a much bigger lift kit, but I know I can lift it if I want to. So for me, leveling kit, no brainer. Inexpensive. If you're just doing a basic leveling kit, a few $100 is all that it's really going to cost you. And as far as leveling kits, you know, those you could go up to, you know, hundreds up into the thousands range. So, you know, and at some point I may actually do a 3-2 lift. I think it's the height I would really like to get to. But for starting out and something that's fairly inexpensive, 2-inch leveling kit is definitely one of the mods I wish I would have done even a little bit sooner. All right, mod number 3 of your first 3 mods you should consider doing for your Tacoma. It's actually something pretty simple. It's pretty small. It's pretty inexpensive. I think it's, I don't know, $15 or less. And that actually has to do with the interior console organizer. This is one that's super simple. It's pretty small, but I will tell you, it's something that every time I get in my truck, I'm glad that I have it. You know, the Tacoma's got that big old gap in the middle, and if you're dropping stuff down there, half the time you can't even find it in that center console. What that organizer does is it puts something right at the top, gives you a couple slots, reach in, grab your sunglasses, grab whatever you need, and it's just something that I use all the time. Like, it's It may be my number one, honestly, if I think about it. It may be my number one choice just because it's so inexpensive. You can buy it off of Amazon for super cheap, but it's something that you're going to be using all the time. As you can see, I've got a couple things in here I'm reaching for all the time. First is my sunglasses. I've actually got a little EDC Hank from Mighty Hanks in there. The microfiber on the back is great. I use it all the time. Gives me something if I need to wipe something down. My sunglasses, the dash, whatever it is, I've got it right there. I've got a knife, some hand sanitizer, some loose change, some chapstick. You can see though, it just keeps it all nice and organized. It's a really easy way for me to keep things right at my fingertips whenever I need it. So pretty quick and easy video today. As you can see, all three of those very different in their functionality and what they do, very different in their price points as well. But if you're looking to get started, these are three options that are pretty good for you. Now, before you go, do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, and one more thing. Before you start thinking about mods, you might want to consider what mistakes you don't want to make, and based on the things that I've done wrong, here's another video that you can check out that'll give you some ideas of what to avoid when you start modding your Tacoma.